Pharmacy, your locally owned hometown pharmacy.
For over 40 years, Claybaugh Pharmacy has been your trusted, family-owned, full-service pharmacy. We provide traditional medical options, medical equipment, immunizations, and over-the-counter products. We take pride in going above and beyond to improve the health of our community. And to ensure you have a seamless experience, manage your profile and refills with the touch of the finger from home. Claybaugh Pharmacy in downtown Beatrice, your hometown family-owned pharmacy.
Welcome back. We're minutes away from the girls' game, but we're going to do the top plays from the boys' game still, so let's jump right in. These top plays are brought to you by Currency. If you need help with financing equipment, trucks, or trailers, all you need is Currency. Central Nebraska Tournament Championship between Kearney and Lexington. A versus B matchup. Lexington defeated Grand Island to get here. Kearney defeated Schuyler. Here's how the action got started. 5th minute, the assist from Andrew Petset and Caden Slaymaker. Coach, he's been doing this all season. That is goal number 9. Kearney's up 1-0 early.
Opportunistic and being in the right spot at the right time. Obviously, unfortunately, you don't want to see the injury, but they created the opportunity and put it away.
Then you have the equalizer here. Before the equalizer, an excellent save by Hayden Schwartz. That was Lexington's best chance up to that point. Here comes the equalizer. Just a couple minutes later, ball inside. It's settled by Adine Lima, and he does the rest.
Similar play, almost exact carbon copy of the one just before that where the goalkeeper made the save, and great finish.
So it's 1-1. That going in the 25th minute. It looked like Lexington may take the lead right before half. A good 1-2. Excellent goal. And I say goal, but it wasn't actually a goal. Offsides, it doesn't count. We head into halftime 1-1. Coming out in the second half, Kearney with a decent chance early on. Petset heading towards goal, but a strong challenge by the Lexington defense. He had several corner kick opportunities by the Minutemen and more heroics from Schwartz. They're punching it away, dealing with the threat. You will hear Schwartz's name later on in this highlight reel. Some foreshadowing for you. Game winding down, dangerous corner kick in. Just a little bit high and off the upright. And there's a nice save from distance as well. But as you saw this game progress, Coach, we ended up going to a shootout after overtime. And so 2 overtime periods were scoreless. This is what everybody likes, right? For a championship, this is what you want.
It's fun when you win, and it's a really long bus ride home when you don't. And that's the unfortunate part of our game. You have to figure out a way to settle it, and this is, I guess, the best that we can come up with after hundreds of years of playing here.
So you had back-to-back saves. It was 2-2 after 3 kicks. Then it was 3-3 after 4 kicks. So each team with a block. But it would end up going to the final kick. Kearney converted its 5th kick. Maravilla had a chance to make this, to keep the shootout going, but Schwartz had other ideas. 2 saves in the shootout for the sophomore keeper. And because of that, the Bearcats are victors. They hoist the trophy and are the first ever Central Nebraska Tournament champions. That will do it. We're going to take about a 30-second break, come back, and start the girls' game here on NCN.
Whether we're talking commercial or residential plumbing, Lamel Plumbing is the place you call. Lamel provides 24-hour emergency service as well. Call them if you get in a tight spot. And as for their retail items, well, you got to check out some of their faucets, some of their kitchen items, and some of their bathroom items like their Onyx showers. And hey, say you've got a digging job, you call Lamel Plumbing for that too. They've added a full-time crew for you, doing backhoe, trenching, and sewer work. Take that digging job off your list and have Lamel do it for you. That's Lamel Plumbing in Beatrice, now at their new location on North 7th Street in Beatrice.
This is a special presentation from News Channel Nebraska. NCN Sports is presented by Currency. Visit gocurrency.com for details. Liberty First Credit Union. Find out more at libertyfirstcu.com. Teammates Mentoring. Join the team. Be a mentor. Visit teammates.org today. Tom Dinsdale Automotive. Celebrating 20 years, Tom Dinsdale Automotive is proud to be community driven. And by Midway Auto. For your next vehicle, go to thinkmidway.com.
Well, welcome to Kearney High School, a soccer doubleheader coming your way on News Channel Nebraska. This matchup brought to you by Nebraska Public Power District. And we are glad to be here. Brandon Axamit and Jeremy Jensen, we just had a dramatic finish in the Central Nebraska Tournament Final. Your victors, Kearney 2, Lexington 1 in a shootout. And the great thing is, as soccer fans, Coach, we have an excellent game that's now taking place right after that one, a top 5 matchup between Omaha, Skutt, and Kearney. I don't know what more you could ask for. You look at Kearney in Class B, they are the gold standard, as Kearney has a chance here early potentially. They've been to 15 of the last 20 championships, have won 10 of them, and you have a Kearney team that is having unprecedented success and perhaps the strongest girls team that this program has ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you think about the pedigree of Skutt and what they've been able to accomplish, just tremendous. And you've got a really talented group of Kearney players here. Got a little bit of taste of it last year by getting down to Morrison and seeing what it's all about, returning basically the nucleus of that team. And so I know there's pretty high expectations with these ladies about getting back to Morrison again. And so, this will be a good test for them. I'm really excited to watch this. It's a cool matchup because you don't see Skutt Catholic coming out state very often. You don't see really the metro schools coming out to the western part of the state to play very, very much. And so usually when you get these type of matchups, it would be in a state tournament. So for them to come out and play, really excited to see how everything transpires here for them.
And you look at the Bearcats, they're undefeated at 8-0, and what they have done. Here are the score lines, Coach. Grand Island 4-0, Bennington 1-0, Lincoln High 5-0, North Platte, this was the one game they gave up a goal. They won 3-1. In their last 4 games, Norfolk 2-0, Fremont 5-0, North Star 8-0, Scotts Bluff yesterday 9-0. They are good at scoring, it would appear. They're good at not giving up goals, having conceded only 1. And talking to head coach Laren Rowe, she said, this is the group of groups. And last year they were even a little bit ahead of schedule, to your point of them being young. There's still not many seniors on this team, but they had that year of experience as freshmen and sophomores. Now they're sophomores and juniors, and they are a force to be reckoned with. It's
definitely a good group. I've had the pleasure of coaching a lot of these girls on our club team, and they've had some tremendous success, and really excited for them to play in this matchup, but also kind of progress as we go through the season. And I'm not surprised at all by the results. We've got plenty of girls out here on this roster that have the capability of playing at the next level and will be playing at the next level. And so seeing them, how they play as we come back to the high school season, I'm anxious. And we've got a couple girls here that honestly should be in all-state the conversations, and so I've got pretty high expectations for this Kearney team, and same with Skutt. I'm familiar with a couple of their players through the club's soccer scene as well, and so Presley Douglas, I'm really excited to watch her play. I see that they've got her slotted and playing kind of a center back role today, and typically she's playing more of a holding midfield spot in on our club team, and she was committed to the University of Missouri and changed her commitment, is now committed to UNO, and so she's a tremendous talent, and looks like today will anchor that back line.
Talked about the results that the Bearcats have posted up to this point. Flip side for Skutt, victories over Gretna, 1-0, 11-1 win over Roncalli Catholic, South Sioux City 10-0, so plenty of goals in this Skyhawk team as well. Their one loss coming to Class A Millard West in a shootout, 2-1. And then they followed that up with a 7-0 victory over Gross Catholic. 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you want to know how many players have scored for Skutt, there's 13 of them who are on the score sheet and have found the back of the net thus far.
Well, that's, I guess, what you would call an embarrassment of riches. And, good for them. And obviously getting some of these games where, they physically overmatch the other team and getting some of these other girls on the field. But, I think they'll have their hands full today. And so, I really expect an up and back match between these two teams. And I think it's going to be incredibly competitive. And so excited to see. Whoa, a little bit of a miscue there in the back. That wind holding the ball up and just really causes problems for the back line and the goalkeeper unless they're really communicating and no hesitation. When that goalkeeper comes off their line, they got to come.
So we've been talking about these teams. Let's take a look first off at the Kearney girls. Starting 11. They run that 4-3-3 of Province, Hoffert, Thiessen, and Cochran in the back. Again, this back line giving up just 1 goal in regulation, and you have the midfield 3 of Walters, Lewis, and Carlsbeck. Your attackers up top, Snyder, Stubb, and Holscher. You look at Snyder, 10 goals and an assist. Holscher, 9 goals, 12 assists. 2 of those 3 on your top line have accounted for almost 20 goals.
Yeah, it's just a dynamic group. And, Reese playing up top is just as physical. Her dad's a wrestler, and, she's got that same mentality and a terrific goal scorer. And, you look at the back line, Taryn Thiessen, they've got her playing the center back spot. She's got a lot of athleticism, and she'll work. And so she played a little bit of center back for us this past year, primarily an outside back, and so it's a little bit of a transition for her, but the athleticism that she brings, definitely a positive for him. And I'm really excited to see Addie Snyder and how she plays today. I think Kearney, if they're going to take the next step, they need to have that playmaking central midfielder that really can elevate their game, in these type of tough matchups. And Addie's got those qualities, and so I want to see her with the ball at her feet and dictating pace of play today.
So that's the starting 11 for the Bearcats as they are trying to spring another attack here. We'll take a look at Skutt's starting 11 shortly, and we do have offside. So here is the Skutt 11. We'll fly that back up. It's brought to you by Medica. With a Medica health plan, you're not just covered, you're cared for. So 3 at the back for Skutt. They run a 3-4-3, which is interesting. They run a box in the middle with those 4. 2 DMs, 2 center attacking mids. Your back line of Merkel, Douglas, and Kasner. Benjamin, Williams, the 2 DMs. Carlson, Osman, the CAMs. And then Kane, Flores, and Reichmuth, the 3 up top. Your leading goal scorer is Flores. She has 6. But again, one of 13 goal scorers. They're evenly distributed amongst them as well. Are you familiar with the box, the 3-4-3 with a box, or what type of advantages would you be hoping to gather from that type of formation?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely an attacking style formation where you want to not only you've got the box in the middle, but you've got multiple players out wide, and so kind of what we saw in the game prior to where the wing backs were coming forward for Lexington. You're going to see the same from Skutt, but the difficulty is for those outside backs, you've got a wing back essentially, but also a forward that's out there, and so probably going to see a lot of 2v1 type opportunities out wide for Skutt with the ball.
So 10 minutes in. Glad that you're with us. Top 5 matchup between Kearney and Skutt. Brandon Axmit and Jeremy Jensen. This one trying to release Kane. And that'll be a goal kick. I'd like to remind you that our pregame show, it was brought to you by Custom Sports. From screen printed t-shirts to sub-laminated jerseys, they have what your team needs to look great. Check them out at customsportsco.com.
I might take a little bit of adjustment here, but it feels to me like Kearney is playing with 3 in the back. They might have fibbed a little bit with what they were giving us in terms of pregame information.
I just can't believe that.
And I don't know. We'll see how it works out here. But one of the things that so Libby Province, Libby typically plays on that outside left spot in a 4, but she's got both her and Claire Cargelane, and Claire's, Kearney's got a really good. Oh, here we go. We got a ball through, and Reese is tough. Really good job by that center back there.
That's Kasner, a state championship basketball player on that team, also an excellent soccer player. She clears it away.
Yeah, I'm going to be anxious to see kind of what role that Libby Province right here that's throwing the ball in is going to play. She was absolutely fantastic in their first-round loss at Morrison last year in the state tournament. I was so impressed with her. She was a freshman, and to the point where we got a ball in behind. Yeah. To the point where I got in contact with her mom afterwards and just told her, I said, hey, I know Libby's just an amazing basketball player, and she's played with us from club soccer, but I really encouraged her to continue with soccer and not give up on it because, as crazy as it sounds, she was playing against Marion at the time, who has just talent all over the field as well, and I thought Libby was the best player on the field for many stretches of that game, so I'm anxious to see her development here, and you see her kind of playing it, whether it's a left center back spot or if she's more so a left back, remains to be seen. And then you've got Cargelane in here, number 7, another left-footed, and her dad's a wrestler also, and just an absolute, beast of a player. And so it's going to be fun to see how these guys continue to develop and grow.
Opportunity for Holscher here, puts it on her left foot, and that almost dipped into that top 90 rather, upper 90.
Well, that was a lot closer than I think than everybody expected it to be.
Yeah, we'll see again here. Looked like it was going well wide, but watch till the end. Not far off.
So Skutt's kind of transitioned a little bit too with their personnel. I see Presley, Douglas playing more of that her traditional position at that holding midfield spot now, and she's just an engine, and seeing her, she's going to go. She's the prototypical box-to-box midfielder in the girls' game, and so really excited to see how she matches up in that midfield with like Addie Snyder when we were talking before about the expectations for her. And so that matchup is definitely something to keep an eye on today.
Looking at what these teams did last year, Kearney, they get 14-4 last season again, and they made it to state. Lost to Marion in a shootout in the first round. But again, talking to Coach Rowe, that was just the cherry on top to make it there with the group and how well they played for being so young. You're seeing the byproduct this season of all the experience they gained last season. On the flip side for Skutt, they made it to the semis, lost in a shootout, and Coach John Carlson said, it's a disappointment, and it's a good thing when you can be disappointed as a program when you don't make it to the finals.
Right.
But so he's like, it's weird that it's a down year and we were disappointed, but it was a unique situation where we didn't go all the way to that last game. And it was a shootout defeat to Duchesne in the semis that eliminated them last year. "15 minutes in, 0-0 between Kearney and Skutt. This first half is brought to you by John Henry's, our family serving yours.
I think this game today is going to be really important, more so for Kearney than Skutt. And the reason why I say that is that, when you think back to another good ball through.
There's no offsides, but the Skutt back line, it was shaky, but they dealt with it.
So you got a combination of Holscher and Ashton Vencura up top, and Ash is left foot dominant, and she's just a gamer as well, and so she's got a lot of pace, very strong, And so, she'll cause problems for the right side of that Skutt defense. But going back to what I was saying, I think this game's so much more important for Kearney than it is Skutt. And the reason why I say that is it's just preparation for the state tournament. I think Kearney definitely has their sights set on getting back. And, one of the things that as they went into the state tournament last year, I talked to a couple of the girls prior to the game and really just tried to get them to settle themselves a little bit, because when you play at Morrison, it's just a different animal. The field, the atmosphere, the environment, everything about it. And what I was worried about was that they would just gas themselves. In the first 15, 20 minutes of that game, they were all over Marion. And the problem is that, I told the girls, I said, so many of them have this mindset that it's all gas and no brakes. And, trying to get them to understand that the valuing possession, and we don't always have to, act like that we're down with a minute to go. And so just let the game come to them, because they've definitely got the skill. And I think that you'll see them take that next step in terms of just valuing the ball and understanding a little bit more of the tactical side of things, that as opposed to last year where it was so new to them. But there's so much talent out here. They should actually have their sights set pretty high. I think they'd be disappointed if they're not playing in a state semifinal. There's Ash, and she's going to battle.
The other thing to your point of the all gas, not a lot of brake, or what you're trying to tell them to not do last year is, that is the strength of this team related to speed. Coach Rowe said we just have so much team speed with this group that it's something that has allowed them to put up whatever 30-plus goals they've had up to this point, and Snyder with 10 and Holscher with 9. It's the team speed, and obviously the combination of skill and soccer IQ is something that she has not experienced with an entire group thus far at Kearney.
Yeah, I would say that things are definitely lining up for them for this year and next year specifically to have really good runs at it. And Class A girls soccer is incredibly competitive. And, you got some of the teams in the metro area that you look at their roster and you just kind of start knocking the names out and you're like, okay, D1, and, NAI, D1. And so, the college level that is out there in the girls game is just tremendous. And so, again, for outstate Nebraska and a lot of the girls that don't get to play at the ECNL level, the state tournament in high school is a really big step for them. And, I would be really surprised if a lot of these girls here that on both of these teams don't end up playing collegiately at some point.
We're almost 20 minutes in. We've been setting the stage with a lot of background info, talking personnel and sort of history of these two programs. But, Coach, what have you seen game script-wise thus far, halfway through this opening half?
Well, it kind of feels to me like there's still just kind of this feeling out stage. I think that, it's tough to get on a bus and drive to, from Omaha to Kearney and be in the cold and the wind, and you're on a Saturday and all those different things. And so, I think Kearney really, in my mind, I guess if I was looking at it early on, I mean, I would think that they're working a little bit harder. They're a little bit more pep in their step. But, Skutt's got so much talent. I mean, they're going to see their way into the game here. And I think that's the big thing. I mean, can Skutt figure out a way to start controlling the ball? Kearney's going to keep coming at you. It doesn't matter, what the score is. And, even if they're up with 2 minutes to go, they're still going to be trying to put the ball in the net. But I'm really anxious to see how Presley Douglas leads this Skutt midfield.
So Gargalayan takes the throw for Kearney. Now ball at the feet of Williams. Was Hoffert with the clearance for the Bearcats. Trying to work it up to Holscher in the second leading goal scorer for Kearney, and she has space. Unable to.
We're gonna have an issue here. Yep, she got to it.
That was sheer, yeah, it kind of couldn't pick it up, got a little bit too far outside the box. Replay brought to you by Beatrice Community Hospital. Here's another look.
Yeah, the wind just holds it up a little bit, and I think just kind of caught in no man's land there. I mean, you can't get it with your gloves, and you got to make a quick decision.
And that nearly found the top corner.
Addie Snyder
Just a toe
there.
poke.
Yep.
Bearcats applying a lot of pressure here. You had the Skutt defender thinking they were safe, and wasn't quite the case. Shear, the keeper. You see Skutt playing out of the back there. Midway Auto is a presenting sponsor of this broadcast. For your next vehicle, go to thinkmidway.com. Always like picking your brain, Coach. We saw the playing out of the back on the goal kick there by Skutt. Where do you stand on that?
Well, you obviously have to have a lot of confidence in your players, and I think that early on in a game, I mean, if you're that confident, you can do it great, but I definitely don't want to make any mistakes. And so, from my standpoint, I would just assume let's get the ball moving forward as quick as we can.
Saw there in the shot Ashton Vancouver currently being checked out by the training staff. We didn't see any sort of major collision, so not sure what's going on there. We'll keep an eye on that.
I think Ash has had kind of a chronic ankle situation for about a year, and so if she ain't hurt, she ain't playing. So, she's always got a little bit of something going on, but she's tougher than a week-old steak too, so she'll be out there.
Well, and to your point, she's already off the trainer's table and walking back to the bench, so.
She probably didn't even want to go to the training.
Do I have to?
The coach made her, I'm sure, yeah.
A little over 20 minutes in, 0-0 between Kearney and Skutt here. Top 5 matchup between Class A and B foes.
One thing you'll see with this Kearney team is they've got an abundance of athletic girls that are left foot dominant, and so whether it's Ashton Vancouver, whether it's Libby Province or Claire Cargelane, and they can run people at you, and that's such a incredibly good thing to have at this level. You want these girls that are getting forward, but it's just their ability to serve balls in because of their left foot. They don't have to pull back or anything, and so I think you're going to see a lot of the attack coming up this left side.
And to your point, too, with Claire and Ashton getting PT, that's a good thing that head coach Kearney's head coach Laren Rowe was unsure of if they would be able to get some PT, both of them sort of coming off injuries, and you alluded to Ashton's as well. She had Brooklyn Lewis slotted in as the starter should they not be able to play. And she cited Lewis has done a great job in that fill-in role, but certainly always a good thing to get your full-strength team back, and we're seeing some minutes for both of them currently.
Yeah, and I think I kind of tongue-in-cheek talk about the all gas no brakes, but one of the things that the competitive fight that these ladies have, the one-on-one duel type situations, I mean they're just workers, and so it's fun to watch them succeed and play at such a high level. But by that token also, they've got to let their game evolve too if they want to be successful at the state tournament, because it's just a different animal there, and you've got to value the ball and not just hammer it forward and hope Reese gets on the end of it or whoever's up top. And so that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on today. So even just a simple thing like that, I want to see that ball kept at somebody's feet. There's no reason to try to do that. Just turn and value the ball a little bit. some of those girls in those Kearney shirts probably get sick of hearing me say value the ball, but I'm saying it on the air as well, and I feel like I'm kind of on the sideline with some of them as well.
Opportunity here for Skutt. That's Sarah Corey with the ball at her feet. Cleared out by the Bearcats.
Brandon, we're 25 minutes into it, and I don't really recall Skutt creating an opportunity at all. So kudos to this Kearney team coming out and kind of taking Skutt out of their game. So we'll see if the gals in the white shirts can kind of settle in and let their skill. Right as I say that, here we go. We get a ball across the middle.
Yeah, best chance created thus far. That cross into the box by the Skyhawks. Talking to Coach John Carlson and the tactics that he tries to play with offensively for this Skutt team. He says, I break down the game by numbers. Coaches do that. He says, I divide the field into quarters, and he tries to get, 10 players into the quarters, the way he described it, to overload and, create mismatches through the numbers game.
Well, I think that's definitely has worked for him.
I would say, yeah, it's not a bad plan.
And on the flip side, though, if you got a team that can figure out a way to switch the field, you're going to have a lot of green space to run into. And so, that'll be the challenge, I guess, for Kearney today, is because of all this athleticism that they've got on the field. If they can figure that out and understand that there's an awful lot of white shirts around the ball, that if we can get the ball to the other side quickly, that we're going to have opportunities. I just genuinely can tell you that I don't know that they're, from an athletic standpoint, there's not many teams in the state that can match up with the girls in the blue shirts running forward. So that's kind of a dangerous game plan, and if it works, and it has for many, many years, kudos to them.
Well, almost a half hour gone, still scoreless. I think still sort of seems like we're in that feeling out period too. A couple of decent opportunities from Kearney and one recently by Skutt, but you wouldn't say anything clear cut by either team quite yet.
No, and you can definitely see. I mean, the way Coach from Skutt has the girls playing. I mean, there's just a substantial number of white jerseys around the ball at any given time, and so. If Kearney doesn't realize that, they're going to have a difficult time. But if they do, like I said, I mean, it's going to create lots of opportunities.
Douglas sending that ball in for Skutt.
We've got a little bit of danger here coming.
Well, free kick for the Skyhawks, so referee says handball.
Well, this ball's going on goal, I can promise you that. Presley's going to figure out a way to rip this, and Katie Eklund, really good goalkeeper, and we've had her on the team for a number of years, and so she's doing a good job of getting that wall set. But we'll see what happens here.
And Douglas puts it on frame, right at Eklund. Be sure to stay tuned for our halftime show coming up in 10 minutes. It's brought to you by Visit Kearney. You can find it all in Kearney. Speaking of Kearney, they have a chance here to put a shot on right foot, and it finds the back of the net.
Molly calls it back.
Carlsbeck nets her 7th goal of the season and puts the Bearcats on top.
Was well done. Combination passes across there, just dragging the back line out.
Instant replay brought to you by Meade Lumber and Beatrice Community Hospital. Molly Kalsbeck gets the scoring started here this afternoon.
It felt like that goal really caused some problems for Skutt because it seemed to me that Reese Holscher had checked back kind of into a midfield position with Addie Snyder moving forward and just the interchanging and then the overlap, and then you started seeing the ball coming across the front, and just the unselfish nature of those gals. That was good stuff. And if you think the girls in blue are going to sit back and be content with that, you got another thing coming. This is the all gas, no brakes part of it for them.
Well, and part of that too, with that speed, they have wing backs, Cochran and Tyson, the ones who started, but that's a big part of their playing style as well, according to Coach Rowe. We use our wing backs a lot. We also attack from the midfield using our speed, and we want to push and use that speed. And so to your point, we expect perhaps the Bearcats to double down after this first one.
They're going to be a dangerous team, and like we've talked about many times with them, I mean, just learn it situationally. Oh, yeah, we got a tough one that's going to be coming in here, but I mean, just situationally understanding the game and understanding different scenarios and how teams are wanting to play. When you start, when you play, especially for a lot of these girls at the club level, and they're playing at against really top competition, and seeing how that game is played, and then bringing it into the high school season is just such a benefit for these gals. And so, what I want to see for them is, I always tell them, the 8 inches between their ears, incredibly important for learning how to play. You've got the physical skills and the abilities, so now let's do the cerebral part of it. And if they can put that together, they're going to be a really tough out.
Very good opportunity here for Skutt. Going towards that back post, just a little high. Not far off, though, from a Skutt head.
Well, that looked like it was tracking to that upper 90 as well.
Yeah, you're right. Seemingly inches away there. As it stands, though, remains 1-0. McWilliams passing across.
Yep.
Now back to Presley.
Got Holscher down with an injury here. Don't want to see that if you're a Kearney fan.
Good to see she has hopped back to her feet, but we also now have a Skutt player down.
Yeah, now we got another foul,
And that's Douglas.
You definitely don't want to see that if you're a Skutt fan.
So Douglas is down. We'll take a break. 1-0, 7:09 remaining here in the first half on NCN.
NCN Sports is brought to you by Husker Rehab, treating the cause of the pain, not just the symptoms. By Schaefer's, we are more than just TVs and appliances. And by Claybaugh Pharmacy, your locally owned hometown pharmacy.
Spring is here. For farmers, making safety a priority this planting season can be the difference between life and death. Always look out for power lines before exiting the cab, when loading and transporting machinery, and when raising or unfolding equipment. Keep equipment at least 20 feet from power lines and use a spotter when possible. Be aware of what's overhead. Nebraska Public Power District, always there when you need us.
Darling, I believe everything's gonna be alright. No need to worry because you got somebody on your side. We all need a fam, we all need a crew. When you're in a jam, don't know what to do. Just reach out your hand and we'll see you through. Doesn't matter where you're at, we got your back. We got your back.
With a Medica health plan, you're not just covered, you're cared for.
We got your back.
So Presley Douglas being helped off the field here into the training table. We're obviously hoping that she's okay. Listed as the heart and soul of the team by head coach John Carlson, UNO commit. All-State forward as a freshman, All-State midfielder the past 2 years. Again, we're hoping we'll keep an eye on her and see if she can get back on the pitch. Seems like they're, at least what we saw looking at her left leg and knee area.
Really important 6 minutes here for both teams, really. You know, you've got Kearney that is on the front foot, and you've got Skutt that, you know, just seen one of their top players, you know, hobble off the field. And so in a 1-0 game, you know, this next goal is going to be incredibly important for both teams.
So you have Maddie Farmer, a freshman, who's entered the game for the Skyhawks here on this right side. This will be a free kick awarded to the Bearcats. Be sure you stay tuned for our halftime highlights, brought to you by Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Check them out in Lincoln or at their Grand Island location. One 0 your score. That goal coming in the 30th minute by Molly Kalsbeck for the Bearcats, making it 1-0 in Kearney's favor. Kearney trying to spring another attack. A favorable bounce. Goes right at the feet of Kearney. What a save by Shear. Ball pinballing around in the box. And it gets out of there. Stubbs with a great kick, coach, but an even better play by the keeper.
Boy, there was a lot going on there. You had the whole play get started with Addie Snyder with disposition, you know, slide tackle, and then making somebody miss, a nice pass, 1v1s, just the scramble in the box.
And not out of danger yet.
It's a tough ball getting held up in the wind. Yeah.
Shear called on, and she answers it. All right, so things ramping up a little bit here in the final minutes of the half. Kearney, a couple of great opportunities.
Whoa, got a little bit fortunate there, a little ping pong bounce. You know, could have come right back. And we're going to
have our first card of the match.
It's Addie Snyder.
So your leading goal scorer issued a yellow. Free kick now awarded to Skutt. Have a couple more substitutions coming in. Cameron Kastner re-enters. Looks like Merkel will take the free kick.
Another dangerous situation here, and you know, Kearney setting that deep line, and ball's going to get on top of Katie, so I want to see her take command. And
Eklund is there for it. Bearcats win it back, a chance to counter. .330 to go. 1-0 your score on the Aurora Cooperative scoreboard. Go green with E15 and fill up at your nearest A stop today. Brandon Axmid and Jeremy Jensen with you for this top 5 matchup between Kearney and Skutt. The Bearcats with the 1-0 advantage as we near halftime. Libby Province re-enters for Kearney. Well, Skutt, an opportunity here.
Let them play a little bit.
And a great shot. Eklund there for the save.
That was good positioning by Katie. She read it coming across. Did a really nice job there seeing that ball through traffic.
Some determination there by Miliani Kane to stick with it before springing the shot. It was fired in by Reichmuth.
Well, I think if you're Skutt, you're looking for something like that. I mean, we're almost to half and just really, not, in my mind, playing up to their pedigree. And granted, I mean, it's, we're playing against a tough opponent and all those things, but definitely I think Coach is going to be disappointed in kind of how the game flow is for the first 40 minutes for his girls. I think right now too is kind of a reminder, kind of in that 2-3 minutes left and a half. I would always be talking to my team and just making them aware of the clock. And anytime they heard me talking about that, it was just be smart. No dumb fouls, no mistakes. We're up 1-0. Let's get to halftime type thing. And so I think for this remaining minute, really important for Kearney not to create any dumb fouls or anything like that. Unfortunately,
there you go.
I'd say that, and that's Claire. And so if I was on the sideline, I'd be hollering at her because Claire's just too competitive sometimes. And so again, this is the part of taking the next step, understanding the situation, understanding that we've got a minute to play. There's no need to foul. Claire's definitely is fast, if not faster, than the girl that was taking her on. So now we got to defend a set piece, and it's going to be dangerous. And so you've got that wind. My guess is it's probably going on frame, and you want Katie to make sure that she squeezes it, possession save, and there's no putbacks here. So. Oof.
Right at Eklund.
She did it. She squeezed it. It went, kind of looked like it was going to come through the gloves, but good for her for getting her team bailed out there.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, 40 minutes are in the books, and Kearney takes a 1-0 advantage into the locker room. Don't go anywhere. Our halftime show is coming up next. You're watching Girls High School Soccer on News Channel Nebraska.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. I love it. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure. We have a wedding band to buy. So.
We do, yes, the wedding band, so we'll be back for that.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, downtown 12th and O, South Point Pavilions, and Grand Island.
Happy birthday to you. It's actually Earth Day.
Who does an Earth Day ad?
We do. Experience a quiet, energy-saving clean with a new KitchenAid dishwasher from Shavers. Now with free installation after rebate. Plus, save up to $3,000 with rebates on energy-saving KitchenAid appliance packages. They're easy on the planet and your wallet.
Happy Earth Day to you.
Need relief from pain or support for recovery? Don't just see anyone, see the trainer. From bracing to home health and rehab products, they provide the right solutions to keep you moving. Whether it's a chronic condition or sudden injury, their expert team will help you find the perfect fit. With a wide range of in-stock orthopedic, sports medicine, or rehabilitation products, See the Trainer is dedicated to improving your quality of life. Visit the professionals at See the Trainer in Columbus, Lincoln, Omaha, Bellevue, and North Platte.
body in motion stays in motion until you feel that muscle tighten, that sharp pain you didn't expect, and suddenly you're stopped in your tracks. KRT helps you get back in action with all natural pain relief in just minutes. Don't get sidelined by muscle cramps. Stay in the game with KRT.
Ready to upgrade your ride to the next level of performance and luxury? Visit Midway today and explore our stunning lineup of over 110 new Buicks and GMCs. Midway Chevrolet Buick GMC in Kearney or thinkmidway.com/GM.
Welcome back, Brandon Axman and Coach Jeremy Jensen with you as we're at halftime. 1-0 your score. Kearney leading Skutt. Let's jump right into our halftime highlights brought to you by Sartor Heyman and Jewelers, where they have stunning engagement collections, exceptional diamonds, and dazzling gemstones at their Lincoln and Grand Island locations. Top 5 matchup, Class A and B foes. And Coach, just generally, what was the temperature on how you felt this game started out and what we've seen up to this point?
Well, I mean, it's absolutely what I expected from the Kearney standpoint. You know, I'm familiar with Skutt, but not nearly as familiar as I am with the Kearney girls, and just understanding that they're going to go for it, and I think we've seen that. And so, temperature big. I guess if I'm the coaches out there, I'm probably pretty happy if I'm the Kearney coach, and I'm a little upset if I'm the Skutt coach right now.
So there was the goal coming in the 30th minute. Molly Kalsbeck, she now has 7 on the season. And you talked about sort of the wave of attack that led to the ball falling to her after that sort of scuffle between the defender and the attacker, and she was the beneficiary.
Yeah, it was really well taken. Everything about that play. Started up at midfield with Addie Snyder, winning the ball in a duel and kind of creating the counterattack. And so, it was very well done.
Another very good opportunity for the Bearcats here. Stout defense and excellent keeping by Shear.
Yeah, I think there were some calls for possible penalty there. There was all kinds of stuff that was going on kind of in that scrum. And very fortunate that Kearney didn't get their second, though, in the net there.
A couple of shots coming in from distance for Skutt, but ultimately Kearney with the better opportunities and probably, I think you'd say, deserving of the 1-0 lead currently.
Yeah, no question. And, the goal they scored was nice. There was probably a couple others that created opportunities that could have also as well. Again, if I'm Skutt, I want to see, the ball at our feet a little bit more, valuing the ball, valuing possession, and trying to figure out a way to get forward because so far they've just, other than, the set pieces, they haven't really been able to test Katie at all in the net, and kudos to Kearney. They're doing a good job of shutting that down as well.
And clearly another major storyline impacting Skutt. We saw Presley Douglas go down, saw her with ice on her left knee. So not sure what her status will be, but not looking favorable. And if you don't have one of your best players, that's obviously something as a coach you have to deal with at halftime and figure out how you're going to address the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, and you certainly hope that Presley's got a minor injury at this point in time. Obviously, nobody knows for sure, but that goes through your mind as a coach. You drive across the state, you're playing against a good opponent. You're not playing well. One of your the staple of your program over the last several years is out with an injury now, and you're hoping for to only be a minor injury. There's a lot going on right now for Coach over there at Skutt, and so he's got his job, let his work cut out for him to try to get everything organized and get the girls focused for the next 40. Otherwise, I think Kearney's going to put a lot of pressure on them, and this could get away from them.
About 4 minutes till we start this second half. We'll take another quick break and return with more halftime show here on News Channel Nebraska.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
This broadcast is brought to you by Currency. Visit gocurrency.com for details. Central Nebraska Orthopedics, dedicated to the motion of life. And by Southeast Community College. Head to southeast.edu and discover your path to possible. The halftime show is proudly presented by Visit Kearney. Find it all in Kearney.
Did you know that Teammates Mentoring is the largest school-based mentoring program in the nation? But we still need your help. Over 500 students are waiting for a mentor like you. Meeting with a student just once a week in school can make a positive impact on their life by providing a sense of hope and helping them to reach their full potential. So what are you waiting for? Head over to teammates.org today to learn more about how you can get involved. Join the team. Be a mentor.
Welcome back. 2 minutes till the second half starts. Now is a great time to talk about the Kearney Sportsplex. We do it for every broadcast throughout the year, but today more so than any other day because it had its open house today. The day has come where it is now open, and the entire community of Kearney, the state of Nebraska, the region, going to experience what is offered at this Kearney Sportsplex. Coach Jensen, I'm sure you've heard about it. Camps, leagues, the activities that you can do in this building with 60,000 square feet of turf, 60,000 plus hardwood courts, pickleball, all of it is going to be a game changer for the state. Impressive, to say the least. I've seen the videos of what it looks like on the inside, and I'm really excited to go over and take a look at it. It's close enough to Grand Island. I'm a little bit competitive and a little bit jealous. You know, we've talked about doing that in GI, and to all those folks in Grand Island that hear me right now, it's time to get off the sideline and get this done. But kudos to Kearney. This is just absolutely out of this world. So really neat thing for them. And if you want to get a look at it as well, Michael Shively was there, Facebook Living on News Channel Nebraska's Facebook page, and we'll be running it on our newscast. You can get the latest from what it looks like on the inside at the Kearney Sportsplex, which is now open. We are about ready to go, and we'd like to let you know about Twitter. You're a Twitter and X guy, maybe?
I am,
Are
yes,
you? Okay.
Absolutely.
At NCN Sports, if you follow us, you get a chance to have access to all sorts of great content. We tweet out highlights, top plays, our game schedule, rankings, and you could be like the 13,000 others who do it. We'd like to invite you to follow us on X at NCN Sports. Absolutely love Twitter/X. It'll always be Twitter and tweets to me. The X is fine, but being a coach, that's really kind of the way that you communicate, around the state, trying to figure out what's going on with other games and all of that. And so, it's definitely a tool that I think that everybody uses. And for you guys, when I'm not in the booth with you, it's, I'm always searching for updates and trying to figure out where to get all this information. So, great job with everything that you guys do with it. And we appreciate it. Appreciate you being here in the booth. This has been great up to this point. We're looking forward to another 40 minutes of action between Kearney and Skutt as, we'll get this thing going right about now, but Kearney with the 1-0 advantage. What tactics, I like asking you these questions. What do you think? Skutt, the biggest thing is, okay, we don't have Presley Douglas, but what else might the Skyhawks need to tweak based on what we saw? Well, I just, I'll be honest, I think Skutt really didn't show up to play yet, and, I think that, from coach's standpoint, you've got such a program of such pedigree and esteem. I guarantee you he's going to come and get after the girls a little bit about getting them motivated and things going forward. But they're also in danger of letting this thing get away from them too. You've got a little bit of wind now with Kearney, and Kearney's going to keep the front foot, and they're just going to keep coming. And so if Skutt's not careful, I could see this thing ending up 3 or 4-0. Should Kearney change anything, or was it, hey, that was a great first half, more of the same? Yeah, I absolutely. I think that, and this is the bias in me, but I think these are the types of games that are really important teaching moments where you want to think bigger picture. It's not just about this game. It's about getting ready for a state tournament. And so you feel like you got the game in hand, but we got to make sure that we put the game away. And I want to see the girls play a certain way. I want to see them valuing the ball and
not just completely banging forward all the time. Let's learn to play just a little bit differently, so when we're playing against Lincoln Southwest or Lincoln East at the state tournament, that we're ready for them. And so tactically, I don't see anything changing with Kearney. I just think it's an emphasis on just telling the girls, hey, let's keep the ball and let's make sure that we don't commit those dumb fouls. And if they do that, they're going to be, like I said, a really special team over the next couple of years.
This broadcast on News Channel Nebraska is presented by Currency. Does your business need financing for equipment, trucks, or trailers? All you need is Currency. Also, it's presented by Teammates Mentoring. Join the team, be a mentor. Go to teammates.org today. And Liberty First Credit Union, another presenting sponsor. Banking with purpose. Find out more at libertyfirstcu.com.
I think there's a good example right there. I mean, we don't need to just send the ball hopefully up forward. Molly, our goal scorer there, she also plays in the midfield, which is where she's at today. I mean, that's where I want to see her, just connecting the ball, just getting her head up and finding feet.
Ball settled and brought down by Walters. And cleared out by Skutt. It'll be a Kearney throw. Held up by Flores. Very good ball and some excellent defending there. You had a Bearcat through.
Yeah, that was Addie Snyder coming through again. And again, I think that her and Reese have that really solid relationship, because Addie's traditionally an attacking central midfielder, but she's one of the top goal scorers, and she's getting on the end of those. And I think it's really due to when Reese checks back. Reese is really strong. She likes to play with her back to the goal, and then Addie with that overlapping run definitely causing problems for the opposition. You saw it again there.
Shot in and saved by Shear.
Skutt needs to find an answer just to some possession here as well. They don't, in my mind, quite have the athleticism that the Kearney girls collectively do, and so just trying to figure out a way to break down that Kearney defense is going to be tough. You've got Corey Hoffert that's playing kind of that center back spot, and then on either side of her, she's got Taryn Thiessen and Libby. And Taryn and Libby have a tremendous amount of pace, and Corey's really good at just positioning there in the middle. And so, Skutt's going to have to get something going, basically in that space in front of that back three. And as of right now, we just don't really see much of a threat coming from the gals in the white shirts.
Continuing to play out of the back, but that didn't work for him on that occasion. The ball does go harmlessly to Shear. Kearney again regaining possession and trying to find Stubbs there. Goes again to Shear.
Yeah, you actually see kind of a positional shift, and so I'm guessing with Reese, Holscher, and Addie Snyder, they've got the flexibility to kind of drop back and interchange between that midfield and forward spot.
Nice cut inside and a dangerous ball across the 18. Shot from distance, well wide.
Got a little fortunate there. And that's if they're going to take the next step. It's just those little things, just understanding. Hey, we don't have to just bang it forward all the time. And sometimes it's just a confidence factor, though, too. I mean, once these girls understand, hey, I'm good enough to hold the ball at my feet and pick out the pass. So really, really reinforcing that with them is, I think, something that you see more and more of.
Kearney applying pressure. Shear forced. Oh, it will stay in, actually. And that'll be a Skutt throw. Again, but to your point, and just Skutt not really being able to get a lot going up to this point, too, it speaks to clearly the body of work that we've seen from this Kearney back line, just conceding the one goal so far this season. It is not an easy task to break them down or find the back of the net, clearly.
Yeah, it's definitely a chore. And so when you've got the pace that they do on the outsides with Thiessen and Libby, I think you're really going to, and then when you try playing through the middle, you've got so much traffic in there. They're just tough, and Katie does a good job of keeping them organized from the backside as well.
Kearney threatening. This will be a free kick. And the Bearcats take it quickly. Unfortunately for them, rolling out of play and nothing much comes of it. You can see the idea there by doing the quick kick. Is that what you would have liked to see it as a coach?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I do. I like that a lot. I think that it's one of those things, though, that we talk an awful lot about and say it all the time. Well, that's a little bit of a dangerous situation there, huh? That's tough on the goalkeeper. But playing the ball quick, and I always wanted to see either the ball or the run going at an angle. I never wanted to see both of them going straight, and so that's kind of again the next step. I like the decision. Execution probably could have been a little bit better.
Some space in the middle of the pitch. Ultimately dealt with by Hoffert. Skutt trying to establish a little bit more control here in their attacking half. And that'll go out of play. Reminder, our second half is brought to you by Husker Rehab, where they treat the cause of the pain, not just the symptoms. Husker Rehab.
That was a lot better passage of play from Skutt. I mean, starting to string together some passes and a little bit more patience on the ball.
Skutt with the throw in here. Urbanic to take it. Gets it to Kane. Intercepted and cleared out.
This is where Kearney can be dangerous. Getting that counterattack going, bringing all those athletes forward and just trying to run past people. But that was really well played by the Skutt center back there. And you could tell she did it confidently too. So you want to see that out of your center back.
Talked about how good the Kearney back line is as we're talking about Skutt and their center backs. Again, they've conceded 3 goals total, but just 2 of them, or rather one of them, was against Millard West's Class A in a defeat, 2-1 in a shootout. The only other coming against Roncalli Catholic at an 11-1 win. So it's not like the Skutt back line has any slouches on it either, but up to this point, Kearney was able to get that first goal back in the 30th minute by Carlsbeck, and they have been able to create more dangerous opportunities, you'd say, than the Skyhawks up to this point.
Yeah, I think that Skutt should actually feel really good about the situation of the game, only being down 1-0. You've lost an all-state player, in the midfield, and really, in my mind, being outplayed from box to box. But you're still just 1-0, and that back line's keeping them in. Goalkeeper made a really nice save on one. Dangerous ball in.
That'll be a throw, not quite a corner. Skyhawk substitution entering. Josie Tababin in. As Merkel will take the throw. Chance here for Reichmuth.
And we talk about the lineage of the Skutt Catholic program, the boys program as well. You say a couple of those names, and I start recognizing names of probably brothers. And Josie that just came in the game, I'm pretty sure she's got a brother that now plays at Wesleyan that was a terrific all-state player. And so it's a lot of these kids on these teams, it runs in their family. And so
it'll be Merkel to take the free kick, a very good opportunity here for the Skyhawks.
It's a good ball.
Very dangerous ball in. Eklund gets it. To your point about, the family lineage and, soccer being passed down from siblings, brothers, sisters. Also, you see this, it's not necessarily rare, but Coach Rowe talking about, hey, these girls have been playing together, club, since 3rd grade up. And so then you get to the point where you're in high school, you have all of this chemistry based on starting at such a young age and developing it. And then you see the byproducts and the fruits of that, if you will, at this point.
Oh, it's massive. And I think that's the reason why you've seen both Columbus and Kearney's girls really take a step up. And we've been fortunate. We have a club team, Nebraska Select, from out here in this neck of the woods, where it's predominantly made up of girls from Kearney High, Columbus High, and then there's several girls from Grand Island that have played and really played at a high level. And so, but that really is kind of the end product of what you talked about there, Brandon, where these girls have been playing since they were 9, 8 years old together here at Kearney. And some of them go and they play at Nebraska Select. Some of them, like Libby Provincers now, playing a lot of basketball, all those things. But having all of this talent get developed all together, it's really a credit to these youth programs that they've got, specifically in Kearney and Columbus, that's really developing the girls' game tremendously. And the chemistry that they play with, a lot of the, you go to the metro schools and you talk about the Skutts or the Marians or the Lincoln Southwest or whoever it is, and a lot of those girls, they play really high-level club, whether it's at the ECNL or the MPL level, but they don't have the chemistry that a team like Kearney or Columbus is going to throw at you. So if Kearney, if this group of girls can just figure out those little things, I really think that they're going to be somebody that nobody's going to want to play come to Morrison Stadium. And let's face it, that's what these girls are shooting for at this point in time. It used to be we wanted to build a program, be respectable, but these girls should have really high expectations of themselves, and I think that's, I'm not speaking for them, but I know their families, I know them, and that's what they want. And so, using every opportunity they can to get better is definitely, and so matchups against perennial power like Skutt is going to do these girls a world of good.
Corner kick here for Skutt, headed out by Kearney up towards Holscher, goes out of play. This broadcast is made possible thanks to Midway Auto. For your next vehicle, go to thinkmidway.com.
It's good to see Vancouver back.
That run started by Holscher, and Holzbeck looking for the brace. What a save! Shear picking the right way. Skutt not out of trouble yet.
That's a great save. Good build-up play by Kearney. Great save by the Skutt goalkeeper. That's good stuff.
We have a injured Silverhawk, but an excellent attack by the Bearcats. And so we'll get another look at that, but we're going to take a break first because we do have a Skutt player down. So, well, here's another look. There's the kick, the great save. Yeah, Kolsbeck couldn't believe it. She thought she had a second goal, and it was an excellent opportunity. This replay brought to you by Beatrice Community Hospital and Meade Lumber. We will take a break, return. There's 23 minutes and 27 seconds remaining here at Kearney.
Kearney, Nebraska is the getaway you never knew you needed. With comfortable, premium lodging, eclectic shopping, and a variety of locally owned craft food and drink options, Kearney has something for everyone. By day, you'll find rich history, outdoor adventure, and some of America's most unique attractions. And by night, our many entertainment options, dazzling performances, and unique hangouts offer the perfect way to unwind. Visit Kearney. It's so much more than just in the middle.
Hey, sports fans, heading to the big game tonight? Make sure you stop by Speedy Mart before you hit the stadium. Fuel up your car and grab your favorite snacks and drinks to keep your energy high. Whether it's chips, soda, or a quick meal, Speedy Mart has everything you need to kick off your game night right. Don't miss out. Swing by Speedy Mart for all your pre-game essentials.
Speedy Mart, snacks before the game.
This broadcast is brought to you by Western Oil. Make your first and last stop to and from the game at your nearest Speedy Mart or good-to-go convenience stores today. See the trainer. Need relief from pain or support for recovery? Don't see just anyone. See the trainer. And by Zollner Ford Lincoln. Proud to be your local Ford and Lincoln dealer.
Welcome back. So Kelsey Williams, the sophomore for Skutt, was the one down. She's walking off under her own power and also taken to the trading table. You can see her at the bottom of the screen, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Not sure what quite happened, but hoping that she'll be okay.
Looked like she came out and got tangled up with Ashton and went low, and yeah, she was the center back that we were talking about not too long ago. So big replacement here. Got a new player coming in at that center back spot for Skutt. Definitely going to be under pressure, so a lot riding on this here. Got big point in the game, 23 minutes to go with that 1-0 score. This next goal is going to be incredibly important.
Brandon Axman and Jeremy Jensen with you. 1-0 score. It came in the 30th minute, courtesy of Molly Kalsbeck, as Kearney not quite able to keep that one in, but it's been this score since the 30th minute. Skutt, the few decent chances, nothing clear cut, and it's to your point that you've said throughout this broadcast, Kearney has been dominant for the most part and in control of this match.
Yeah, Skutt's got a, like I said, I mean, they're probably upset about the scoreboard, but they also, in some aspects, have to feel good about it because it's still only 1-0. And one of the things that as a coach, if I'm Kearney's coach right now, I just want to make sure that we don't do anything dumb in the back. We don't want any reckless fouls in the penalty box and give up a PK or something like that. We really want to force Skutt to have to come through us, and if they have to do that, we feel pretty good about our chances of winning the game and possibly even extending our lead. But just one mental breakdown and let's get right back into it, and all of a sudden it's game on.
Skutt will take the throw up towards Kasner. Interesting, too, when you're talking to Coach Carlson for Skutt, he said in half the games we play, and not sure if we've seen it here, but they've had the opportunity because of the blowouts that they've been able to do, because of the skill that they have, play pretty much every player on the roster. And he likes to use their depth to their advantage, even in games like this, where he wants to play that pressing style, have his players running, and then, for the most part, as a coach, you don't see a whole lot of drop-off when you feel your bench is deep and you can bring players in off the bench that will help in that. Not sure with the game state the way it is now that we've seen that rotation as much, but that is a strength that this team does have that he has alluded to that he likes to use.
Yeah, and I think some of it's probably being tested today, regardless of intent, just because of some of the injuries that they're facing as well. And so, it's good that they've had some of those opportunities to get some of those other kids in the game prior to today, because when you start, when your center back leaves the game and your all-state midfielder leaves the game, and you're down 1-0 against a very athletic team, it's definitely going to get the pressure, especially as we go here. That right there is probably a good example of what we talk about at the club level with these girls is. We don't need to send hopeful balls. We've got plenty of ability to work the ball and break them down. And so, this is a great game. I said it earlier how important it was for Kearney as compared to Skutt. But even at this point in the game with 20 minutes to go on a 1-0 lead against a perennial power like this, you can learn a lot. You can learn how to play the game a certain way and all the things that are going to come up big later in the year. And so, as this game progresses, I would want to see the Kearney girls, just understanding how the game is actually going, and we don't need to send just ball after ball forward. I mean, it's let's stay organized, let's talk, let's do all those little things, and let's learn how to close out, because if you want to be a champion, you got to close out the big games. And this is, regardless of how this game's going, I mean, this is a big game, and against a really quality opponent. So the job's not done yet, so let's figure out a way to finish this job.
Reichmuth threatening, and that deflected towards Eklund, who's there. But you see, just like that, on a moment's notice, you see that quality that they can spring on you.
Yeah, they got a little bit of a deflection there. Don't know where that ball would have, if it would have seen its way through to a runner at the back post, but it just happens that fast, and all of a sudden you've worked your tail off for 60 minutes and feel really good about yourself. Now you're in a dogfight against a great team and a team that you think that you should be beating rather handedly.
A couple of substitutions for Skutt. Sarah Corey comes on. For Kearney, it's Karjalainen and also Stubbs. Karjalainen, rather, excuse me. And for a shot right from the 18, yep. Deflected by Skutt.
So that was Thiessen from the back line that struck that. And she was always politicking for me to play her as a forward. So I'm going to let her know I saw her take that rip, but it didn't find the net.
The coach always knows right. Might be another chance from distance. Going wide. You'll appreciate this as a soccer enthusiast. Coach Carlson for Skutt helped start the Omaha Central soccer program. I think he was an 85 grad. So I don't have your bio in front of me. I can't remember. Somewhere in that area-ish. Were you 90s grad?
I was a 91 grad.
91,
yep.
So not far off. But so do you remember then back in the day, like apparently soccer wasn't NSAA sanctioned, and he's tells me he had to go around to ADs and schools to get it to become a recognized sport, boys soccer in the state of Nebraska. And it got sanctioned in 1988 because prior to it was just high schools playing, but it was really club.
Yeah, that's correct. And in fact, Grand Island didn't start until 1990. So I played as a junior and a senior on the first teams that we had there. And let's just say the game has grown substantially since then. And when you see the state tournaments at Morrison and you go and you see the thousands of people and all the stuff, it's just so good to see. And so kudos to Coach for getting that going, because all those pioneers that came before us and got this all up and going, it's just wonderful to see.
From talking with you over the years too, that Saturday at Morrison, that is the magical environment.
It is, and I'll tell you, being in the semifinals is in my mind even more exciting than being in the final. The final is fun, and obviously a lot on the line there, but the fact that you're so close to that in the semifinals and just the crushing heartbreak of losing a semifinal game is just darn near unbearable. And so it's a progression. It's a wonderful opportunity to go, and you hope that players get an opportunity to at least experience it. And so I think that's what Kearney did last year, and it's something that it's just expected with Skutt, right? Mm-hmm. But Kearney experienced it last year, and so you hope to see them be able to take that next step though and get to that semifinal night. We always talked about preseason. It was always about the Final Four. We never said, hey, let's go win a state championship. It was always about getting to the Final Four, and that's to me just a magical night.
And at the point, we very well could see both of these teams in their respective Final Fours, Class A and Class B, in about a month's time, or when that state tournament rolls around. Kearney's currently undefeated, and should they win here today, they'd go 9-0 as that header goes wide. You're going to want to be sure to stay tuned for our Player of the Game interview. It's brought to you by Nebraska Orthopedic Center. We'll talk to the star player from the winning team after this one's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't think you put a bow on this one yet for Kearney, but it'll be really exciting and interesting to see how they play against a team like a Lincoln East and the Lincoln Southwest. Those really top-tier programs right now in Class A, and that'll be a good barometer for them, because they'll see them just because we're in the HAC together, but that'll be the measuring stick for them.
To your point, actually, Southwest is their next opponent.
Is it?
On the 9th. So not far, and then Southeast on the 15th, with the game between Northeast in between.
Okay.
So just that condensed spring schedule. And a little teaser for what we'll be doing here on News Channel Nebraska. We will be televising the HAC Championship, boys and girls. So should Kearney make to that point, which they have a strong possibility to, we'll see the Lady Bearcats again.
One of the things that I'm really a bit surprised, Skutt just 100% is going to play the ball short on these goal kicks. I'm really surprised Kearney's not stepping higher and just putting immediate pressure on them. They're kind of letting that first pass happen. And if you want to really get after them, I'd say bring a couple more forward.
There's a good opportunity there, just not quite able to string together that final pass. Carlsbeck was the closest to it. We were talking about the HAC tournament competition, and you've seen success in it and have played a big role in it. The history of it's interesting. It was a big tournament for a while, and then around COVID, right, it went away. And then it's since come back in sort of this new format where, as we have a ball go in towards the box, you have the brackets, the gold to silver bracket, where the top four, based on power points, get a play for the gold, and the second four play for that silver. But I'm sure, knowing you, that the fact that it's back in some form or fashion is something that you are and would be happy about.
Well, I was disgusted when they got rid of it. I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. And big picture too, for whatever reason, it's kind of like the Big Ten. The HAC has just grown infinitely with no rhyme or reason to it. And so now we've got a couple changes with it. But, yeah, getting the tournament back, I don't care in any format. It was better than nothing. I'm a little bit biased, but, it was terrific back in the day. And it was really top-tier competition. And it was a grind. You'd play 3 games in 3 days. And, us being in Grand Island, we were driving to Lincoln each and every day. And we had tremendous success in it. And so to see it come back, I'm really pleased that they've got that. And plus you've got all these other cool, trophy games and the stuff that we saw, with the boys earlier playing for another trophy. I mean, all that stuff really adds to everything about the season. And you want, when Grand Island and Kearney play, they've got a cup now that, goes back and forth. And, I know a lot of the Lincoln schools do the same thing. And so, I mean, that type of stuff just adds to the game. And kudos to everybody. Coach Steinberg here at Kearney's just been a massive advocate of that. And so, great example here. I mean, we're, if I'm Kearney, I mean, this is again one of these teaching moments. They play this ball short every time. We've got so much athleticism. Let's go and just mark them all up. We'll just take it from them, just like like Claire did right there.
Nearing 10 minutes to go, still 1-0 Kearney. Our coverage is presented by Liberty First Credit Union as well as Currency and Teammates Mentoring. You'd think at this point if Kearney finds that second, that would take care of things. But as you've alluded to, when it's a 1-0 game, it just takes one moment. And Skutt, while being outplayed, have every ability to equalize and turn this game upside down.
Yeah, I think if you're Kearney, you're going to be pleased if the result holds, with the 1-0 win, because a win against a program like Skutt's great, but you're also going to be incredibly disappointed. You've got to learn to put really good teams away. And well, here we go. There's the second.
Hey, right on cue. It's like we know what we're talking about. Announcers calling the goal as Kearney makes it 2-0, and I would say the way things have gone that would closely solidify things for the Bearcats. Here's another look. The dangerous ball goes in, and then it's...
Was it Province who got it, Libby? We couldn't tell. Oh,
so PA announcer says Stubbs. Okay. Let's see. We'll ask the truck for confirmation. Regardless, it's 2-0 for the Bearcats. Here's another look. We'll see if we can really slow it down. So Stubbs is right there, and yep, it was the left foot of Stubbs. That's goal number 6 for the freshman. 6 goals, 5 assists for this freshman.
Yeah, she's a lot of talent there. Gonna have a bright future.
And so, as you've talked about, now all of a sudden, the being able to put away an opponent starts becoming a little bit better of a conversation.
Well, you see Katie right here. I love what she's doing. I mean, just the simple gamesmanship now. We understand the situation of the game. We're up to 9 to go. It doesn't mean we just pack it in, but just getting the scoreboard to say 0 is our highest priority right now. And so let's close this out. Let's figure out a way to keep the ball, keep ourselves out of bad positions. It's funny. I'll tell a quick story. We've got some Kearney parents that we're playing in Denver in a tournament. We're up by 1 with like a minute to go, and my daughter's got the ball. She's the goalkeeper, and the ball comes out, and she could have played it quick to Reese, who didn't have anybody, and Reese probably goes one-on-one, and Reese's dad's screaming, go, 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 and I'm yelling, no, no, no.
Right.
And it's the all gas, no brakes mentality right there, and Blake and I kind of laughed afterwards. I said, Blake, you got to understand, I just want the clock to go to 0. We don't need to get another one in the back of the net. And so, there will be no quit here. It's just a matter of finding that perfect balance to let's see the game out.
That one goes right to Shear on the free kick.
Trying to teach these girls how to take the ball to the corner flag and kill the clock is not an easy thing for the mentality of these ladies. So I'm anxious to see as this game progresses if we keep the 2-0 score, any of them actually do that or if they still try to put the ball in the net.
Throw here from Thiessen. You're going to want to stay tuned for our top plays brought to you by Currency. Does your business need financing for equipment, trucks, or trailers? All you need is Currency. Visit gocurrency.com. Our top play is also brought to you by Southeast Community College. Head to southeast.edu and discover your path to possible.
You know, I was thinking about something just a little bit ago when we talked about that Skutt has so many girls that have scored. And you can look at that really in a couple of different ways. You know, number one, you're getting a lot of girls that are putting the ball in the net, and that's good. But do you really have, you know, kind of that key scorer? You know, who's the one that's going to take over a game? You know, if you're playing in a game like this, do you have somebody that goes forward that can put a lot of pressure on, just, you know, from the matchup standpoint, the athleticism, the mentality of the goal scorer, all that type of stuff. And you know, it's hard to see right now, kind of where that scoring comes from Skutt, unless it's just, you know, the complete system here. And if the system's breaking down just because you're playing against a really tough opponent, sometimes you just got to have players that can just make it happen on their own.
And to your point, the leading goal scorer would be Flores with 6, but I haven't seen a lot of her this match, and you have Carlson at 4. Other than that, it's pretty much 1 or 2 goals for the other 11.
Sure.
We talked about, too, Douglas. She had 3 goals, 3 assists. She has not been playing since midway through this first half.
Yeah, I don't think we can stress enough with her not being on the field. I mean, that really is tough for the girls from Skutt. That's going to be a tough ball.
Well, keeper's there.
So if you look at Kearney, the attacking mindset that they can put forward with Ashton Van Cura, with Reese Holscher, with you've seen Kalsbeck. Good opportunity there. But I mean, they can just come at you in waves with their attacking players here, and so you see Stubbs and Van Cura up there right now, and you know, Holscher and Addie Snyder and Kalsbeck have been running at them too. I mean, they're 5-6 deep at those attacking spots, and that's what I think really is going to make Kearney dangerous. That if they learn these little things about how to close out the games and play a certain way, I think they're going to be competitive with anybody.
Well, they're on par for shutting out their opponent and scoring multiple goals like they've done for the majority of their 8 wins so far this season. Be sure to stay tuned for our post-game show brought to you by KRT, which helps you get back in action. Learn more at krtrelief.com. Nearing 4 minutes to play, Kearney got on the board in the 30th minute. Molly Kalsbeck, and then more recently, Macy Stubbs, doubling the lead for the Bearcats here in the 70th minute. Kearney trying to improve to 9-0, and having only conceded 1 goal so far this season. Again, you mentioned a big test coming up next. Southwest 4 days away. Silverhawks undefeated as well. Currently sitting at top of the power points in Class A.
That'd be a fun game to watch. I think that's going to be, one of those games that's the athleticism that you'll see on the field in that game is going to be tremendous.
All sent in and cleared. We talked about Kearney having Southwest next. You look at Skutt's schedule. They get Scotts Bluff, then go to Omaha Mercy, who's also currently undefeated, sitting at second in the power points in Class B. Follow that up with a game against Duchesne, who knocked them out of state last year, and then Pius. We talked about it in the boys' broadcast as well, and Coach Carlson sort of echoed your sentiments that B, on the girls' side particularly, may be as stacked as it's been in a while. I mean, with Pius coming down and just the landscape of enrollment changing, who's in A, who's in B.
Well, then you've got the teams like Gretna and Gretna East.
Yep.
That are now, you know, at the B level at the girls' game. I mean, that's just a tremendous, you know, group of talent right there. And
it's like 9 players at Gretna East going D1 or something
right.
crazy like that.
So, Brandon, here's a good example of what we're talking about here. We're a minute and a half to go in the game. We got a free kick. This is where if I'm coaching them, I'm hollering at Taryn, just go to the corner. Let's just kill it. Nah,
let's make it 3.
We're going for 3, baby. And being up 2-0 is not as big a deal, but I guarantee you, if they're up 1-0, she's doing the same thing. and that's when I would have been losing my mind.
That's the point you're trying to make, yeah. Well, we're right at 1 minute.
1 minute remaining in the game.
Well, if you're Kearney now, it's see it out. I think you got the win locked up, but let's keep the shutout. Let's keep that clean sheet. We got 30 seconds here with the ball down deep. Just nothing foolish, no foul here. That should do it.
Ten seconds before this becomes official.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the Bearcats
Kearney High 2.
take down Skutt, officially 2-0 your score. They improve to 9-0 on the season. Kearney with another excellent win, another clean sheet, and continue to reinforce that they are a force to be reckoned with here in Class A. We'll take a break. We'll hear from Coach Rowe and our player of the game. We'll take a look at the top plays. When we return, Bearcats win 2-0.
Liberty First Credit Union. It's for you. You live in Nebraska or the surrounding states? Then it's for you. Want to earn cash back on your transactions? Then it's for you. Are you ready to start banking with purpose? Then Liberty First Credit Union? It's for you. We're not your typical credit union. We support you with personalized banking that's open to everyone. Start banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union. We're for you.
Looking for a car that isn't new but is new to you? Midway's got it. Over 150 pre-owned cars, trucks, and sport utilities now at Midway in Kearney, and each comes with a 30-day exchange privilege. Midway Auto Dealerships in Kearney, Nebraska, or thinkmidway.com.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
Did you know that Teammates Mentoring is the largest school-based mentoring program in the nation? but we still need your help. Over 500 students are waiting for a mentor like you. Meeting with a student just once a week in school can make a positive impact on their life by providing a sense of hope and helping them to reach their full potential. So what are you waiting for? Head over to teammates.org today to learn more about how you can get involved. Join the team. Be a mentor.
Welcome back. 2-0 your score. Kearney improves to 9-0. Let's jump right in and take a look at our top plays brought to you by Currency and Southeast Community College. Discover your path to possible at southeast.edu. Top 5 matchup between Class A and Class B foes. Kearney entering this one at 8-0. Skutt 4-1 on a crisp, windy afternoon in Kearney. From the get-go, Kearney really had the better opportunities. You have the ball into Reese Holscher here, shot going high and wide. Coach, another good opportunity by the Bearcats on this occasion.
Yeah, they really came out on the front foot, put a lot of pressure on Skutt early on, and I think that definitely set the tone for the rest of the game.
Shot coming in from distance by Presley Douglas for Skutt, but 30 minutes in, we're scoreless until 29 minutes, or 31 minutes in rather, and you have your first goal of the game coming from Molly Kalsbeck, the junior, breaking the deadlock. That's her 7th goal on the season, and Kearney would end up taking a 1-0 lead into the halftime break. But before we get to halftime, Skutt with a couple of other good opportunities, just weren't quite able to find the back of the net. 5 minutes to go, and it was almost a doubled lead before halftime. Good last-ditch defending by Skutt's defense. Even better goalkeeping by Grace Shear to keep that one out. And with 30 seconds to go, Skutt would have one more opportunity. But, Coach, Skutt had a few shots on target from set pieces, but never really in that first half had that great of a shot.
Yeah, few and far between for the Skutt attack today. And there you see Kalsbeck getting denied, after a really good build-up play by Kearney, and Skutt fortunate to keep it at 1-0 at that point.
That was Kalsbeck, as you mentioned, looking for the brace. Excellent save by Shear. Well, more opportunities late. It's still 1-0, and while Kearney was out playing the Skyhawks, when it's only a 1-goal advantage, you never know what can happen. But this would help put the game on ice. Ball goes in, and Macy Stubbs, the freshman, gets her foot on it. That's her 6th goal of the season. That would make it 2-0, and it would ensure the victory for the Bearcats. They go on to win it 2-0 and improve to 9-0, continuing their great run, shutting out another opponent, and only giving up 1 goal this entire season. Skutt drops to 4-2. We are about to go down and talk to our player of the game, brought to you by Nebraska Orthopedic Center, which is your healing destination as well as our head coach. But before we take a break for myself to go down there to talk to coaches, this will be the last time we get to hear from you, Coach Jensen, on this broadcast. We've appreciated it. Any final thoughts on what we saw here today in this girls' contest?
Well, number one, I can tell you that this was a really fun day, so thank you for the invite. And, it's really, I'm excited to watch, this Kearney team progress throughout the year. I don't know as much about the Skutt team, but, really wishing for the best for Presley Douglas. Great player, fantastic player, comes from a great family, and really want to see her, hopefully, everything work out for her. And so, I'm sure the Skutt coach, you win or you learn. And, I think they learned a little bit today about the things that they've got to do to get better as well. And then from a Kearney standpoint, you win and you learn as well. And they won the game, but there's definitely a lot of things I know Coach is going to be able to look at the film and try to figure out ways to get better. And they're going to get tested big time this next game. So, hopefully they're ready as well. So thank you for the invite. It's been great.
Absolute pleasure. We'll have to do it again.
We'll do.
Coach Jensen sharing his knowledge throughout these 2 broadcasts. 2 great games here on News Channel Nebraska. And stay with us because we still have our post-game interviews before wrapping this one up. We'll be back shortly. We'll hear from Coach Rowe and our player of the game.
Just finished an epic game? Keep the excitement going with a stop at Good To Go Convenience Store on your way home. refuel with a fresh coffee, grab a tasty sandwich, and fill up your tank to be ready for the next adventure. Whether you're celebrating a win or discussing the highlights, Good to Go has all your post-game refreshments covered. Make it a part of your game day routine.
Good to Go post-game snacks.
Kearney, Nebraska is the getaway you never knew you needed. With comfortable, premium lodging, eclectic shopping, and a variety of locally owned craft food and drink options, Kearney has something for everyone. By day, you'll find rich history, outdoor adventure, and some of America's most unique attractions. And by night, our many entertainment options, dazzling performances, and unique hangouts offer the perfect way to unwind. Visit Kearney. It's so much more than just in the middle.
Women have a 1 in 8 chance for developing breast cancer. Early detection makes a difference. Beatrice Community Hospital's Imaging Center can help with the latest technology, from screening with 3D mammography, breast MRI, breast ultrasound, and breast biopsy. All services conveniently located in the BCH's Imaging Center. Schedule your screening today. Incredible care, incredibly close.
Welcome back, Laren Rowe with us, Kearney head coach. The Bearcats improve to 9-0, coached by a score of 2-0. Common theme, you scored multiple goals, you didn't give up any. This against a very good opponent, perennial power in Class B. How do you assess your team's performance?
You know, I'm super proud of this group. They continue to fight game in and game out, and they kind of accepted this challenge. We've never played this program in our history of our program, and so for them to take a new opponent on and have an open mind and just come and be the aggressor was super cool to see.
Speaking about being an aggressor, you got out on top in the 30th minute. Always big when you go up first and don't get down in a hole, but what did that do momentum-wise heading into halftime?
For sure. I think that gave our girls some comfort, for sure, and just to be able to see that they were going to have success against a quality opponent. And so, to push through and fight for 30 minutes and then get a beautiful finish at that. I mean, the combination play leading up to it was awesome. Molly's finish was awesome. And then just to be persistent after that. I mean, they didn't let down one bit, and I mean, our final goal even showed that. So super proud of the girls, like I said. Excited to see where this program goes with this group's leadership.
And what did you see on that second goal? We were talking about how, while it seemed like the Bearcats, you were in control. When it's 1-0, it can still be one thing can make things dangerous, but that put the game on ice.
Yeah, and I think that's kudos to our girls to just keep pushing and fighting, and for Claire Cargelainen to send that ball back in and just give a dangerous ball in the box, and for Macy to get her foot on it. That was huge. I mean, they just did not let down today, and that was cool to see.
So what does this say about your team's body of work? 9-0, giving up one goal, you're scoring a ton. How are you feeling about where your team's at this point in the season?
You know, I think we're heading in the right direction. We talk about you never kind of want to be at your peak at this point anyway, and so to keep climbing that hill and just keep finding quality competition. I mean, we're going to turn around and play Southwest on Wednesday, and we have to continue to be quality in our approach, and I have no doubt that this group can do that, and so I'm just, like I said, I'm excited to see where they go.
Lastly, tell me about Molly. We're going to bring her in next. She got that first goal. What does she offer this team?
You know, she's just calm and collected under the goal as of late, and that's something she's been working really hard on. So for her to get that finish and just the approach that it took for them to get there and for her to be as calm as she was with all that pressure in the box, super proud of her. So, yes, let's bring her in.
Coach, appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the way. All right, our Nebraska Orthopedic Center player of the game, Molly Kalsbeck, the opening goal, her 7th of the season. You heard Coach just say, calm, cool, collected. Where does that come from?
I don't really know. I saw the ball come through to my feet. I thought my teammate in front of me was going to get it, but then I got it, and I just tried to stay composed in front of the goal and kick it to the corner, and it went in.
So you stayed calm, cool, collected there. What has allowed you to have success and notch 7 goals so far this season? So not only this goal, but how have you been able to find the net consistently?
Definitely my teammates. My teammates set up everything for me, assisting and giving good corner kicks and sending good through balls, and that's how I get my goals from them.
How are you feeling defeating Skutt? They're a perennial power. You're an up-and-coming team and a very good team at that, but I think it says a little bit more about the pedigree when you're able to get a result against a team like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've never played Skutt before, so we didn't really know what to expect coming in. We just knew that they were going to be a good team, and we played our hearts out the full 80 minutes, and then we came away with a win. So.
Lastly, how are you feeling about Lincoln Southwest? Not much rest before another big game.
Yeah, we're just going to take the practices day by day and then get ready for them. They're obviously a really good opponent, so I think if we play like we did today and play our game, that we can win against them too.
Molly, congrats on the great performance. Best of luck moving forward against the Silverhawks and the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Molly Kalsbeck, our player of the game. She gets the goal, 7 on the season, and Kearney gets the win. 2-0 is the score over Skutt as they prepare for Lincoln Southwest in a few days' time. That will do it for us here today at Kearney High. We appreciate you tuning in for our soccer. Kearney gets the victory in both. The boys, the first ever Central Nebraska tournament champs with the victory over Lexington, and the girls follow it up with a 2-0 victory over Skutt. A special thanks to our terrific camera crew who's been battling the cold and the wind, providing you all of these great shots. Couldn't do it without them or Danny and Paul in the truck. Be sure to stay tuned and go to newschannelnebraska.com or follow us on Twitter at NCN Sports, where you can find out the next games we will be televising statewide. I'm Brandon Axamit for Coach Jensen and for our entire NCN Sports crew. We'll see you next week for more high school sports.
We now join regular programming on News Channel Nebraska.